I ain't get no rest. I ain't getting no rest. I ain't getting no rest, cause I'm going. I ain't getting no rest, cause I'm I ain't getting no rest. I ain't getting no rest. I ain't getting no rest, cause I'm going. I ain't getting no rest.
If you want to get to the best chapter of your life, click the link in the description below and book a phone call with me. I'm the cure beast.
I ain't getting no rest. Cause I'm going. I ain't getting no rest. I ain't getting no rest, cause I'm going. I ain't getting no rest, cause I'm I ain't getting no rest. I ain't getting no rest. I ain't getting no rest, cause I'm going.
Bam. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here, sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. These are the times. These are the days. Let's go, baby. Bitcoin, 103,500 for BTC. I'm going to lose my voice, but this is absolutely out of control. These are the days we've been waiting for. BTC pumping to the upside. Absolutely amazing. I told you so's, right? I told you so. I told you so. And the big moves to 100,000. And you knew once we got even slightly above 100K, the FOMO would kick in. People would go crazy. And it would get crazy. And it is getting crazy. And $103,500 BTC. I'm in a trade right now that's starting to rip to the upside here for Bitcoin. So let's talk about it. Let's get crazy. Let's get loose. No, but this is, I'm drunk with gains. And Bitcoin continuing to rip further to the upside. And, there's a chance we just kind of go sideways throughout the day here. And then altcoins could have their way. I could see Bitcoin getting all the way up to 106,000, at least to 105 for BTC, as long as we stay above the 200 MA, the 200 moving average here on the 5-minute time frame. I'm bullish. And so far, we're all right. We are doing okay. You take a look at that 1 minute too as well. Nice little pump above the 200 MA. There's my signal. We crossed that 200 moving average and got a nice little pump. The pump began at about $103,017 and went all the way up to like 103.7 for Bitcoin. And now if you really want to, let me bring that down. If you really want to take a look at it here, you can see we're getting very tight inside of this little spot here. So watching Bitcoin closely, and what looks to me like a symmetrical triangle. That could go either way. All right, that could break up or down. Kind of has a head and shoulder, inverted head and shoulder, a bit of a cup and handle in there. And you are above a 200 MA, but I would like it to come down so we could go sideways throughout the day. Just, but a huge pump, I'll take whatever, right? I'm in a long right now. You can see stop loss right there. It's up right now. Bitcoin's starting to pump pretty nicely to the upside, 22%. And we'll see where it goes. Getting very tight inside the nose too. So if this consolidated, a bigger move for Bitcoin could come. Let's put the lemon into the water. I already did, but put a little more. Don't put too much though. Then you get the enamel going. Oh yeah. But so I'm looking for this tightness for Bitcoin, and we're gonna break down BTC from the very beginning to the small. All right, when we get off of hype. I love when my computer does that. But shout out to everyone here on the live. $103,500 Bitcoin. All right. Congratulations to anyone that jumped in and used the bot too, and watching the bot do its magic here as price action just absolutely rips to the upside, and to get a piece of it all the time, no matter what, using the Minotaur trading system there, and link to that in the description if you'd like to jump on in. Okay, and find out more. Also, I put a pinned comment in my Twitter, so if you want to check that out too, at the top of my Twitter, just showing you kind of the results and a link to it if you want to book a call, find out more. And they'll just, you don't have to, no obligation, you just book a call. I think it's cool, it's working for me. I could keep it to myself, or I could let you know about it. I'm letting you know about it. So Bitcoin, nice and tight and right. Definitely even broke out of here, you could say, inside of this tighter channel. But I'm always open to watch it and see what can happen and have a bunch of scenarios open in my mind. So, but let's break it down. Let's have some fun. Let's talk about BTC. About to crack the all-time high on the weekly. So here we are. Can you believe what a difference 2 weeks can make? Insanity. What's happening here for Bitcoin? Absolute insanity. Like, are you seeing this? Like, two massive green candles here on the weekly. It's just like, wake up, slap me sideways here. Bitcoin is roaring, and right now it's pumping as we speak, 100,600. Seems like it may be getting a little rip here out of this little flag. Getting boomed out. Now, once it breaks this level here, 103.8, I mean, you can only assume it's going to go back up towards this wick there at about 104,371. That's got to take that out on the local. I'm still looking for it to probably double top and go sideways here. I just, the less it rages more sideways, better for some altcoins into the weekend. It is Friday, right? And we want to have that altcoin weekend where we get that trading pump all weekend long for the altcoins. And that's what we're looking for. You were scared. No, you were scared. No, you were scared. No, you were scared. So many people were the shook ones, right? But again, that's why when you call, you don't have to call the bottom or say a word, but when you put your money down, right? And you saw me buying BTC like it was the last piece of gold on earth, you know what I mean? And I still believe it is even more valuable as a foreshadowing of what could be. So Bitcoin getting a massive rip to the upside, 102,566, and everyone here knew I was long. My whole entire group was long. If you were short, I kept saying, man, I don't want to short Bitcoin right here. I kept saying, don't short, shorting Bitcoin when it's above its 4-hour. And this all began, again, using this simple, tried and true strategies. Let's talk about it. The 200 moving average on that daily is really, once we got above it right there, look, we just started to go sideways. And then, wow, we ripped. And I was showing this fractal here where I saw Bitcoin make this, broadening rising wedge. And eventually it just absolutely took over. And it started to make a very similar pattern. We even drew a Fibonacci, a fractal, and we were looking at this, I believe it was last Sunday night. Could even have been, I would like, if we could dig it up, Sean, exactly the day, I'm not sure, but the first time I saw this, somewhere around here, we had this low, and next thing you know, Bitcoin absolutely erupted to the upside for massive gains. And, you can see the measured move isn't even done yet. It goes up to about 108,900 for BTC. And then we even have the measured move on the bigger time frame, because you have to look at it on the bigger time frame. And we've been watching this so closely. And then on top of it, we've called the hidden bullish divergence, which I told you means you're going to break this high before you break this low 90% of the time. And you have the swing down on the RSI, right? While you have the swing up on price action, and then the Fibonacci retracement. So basically bounce right off that golden pocket, the 618, not even any, just bounce off the 618 really, but just beautiful Fibonacci retracement. And I showed you how we saw this exact same thing before. We've gone over this till I'm blue in the face here on the channel over and over again in the bounce, but I just wanted to make it clear, I'm not the guy jumping on some bandwagon here. We've been showing this idea over and over and over again for Bitcoin. No games, and this is telling us that 139,000 it looks like we can get somewhere up to about $139,000, $140,000 Bitcoin. This thing keeps ripping the way it's going to rip, So anyway, Bitcoin looking beautiful. We broke out. The weekly is going to close basically above this next previous resistance at about 102,700. That's beautiful. That's just very, very strong. Bitcoin pulling back a bit here, 103,200. But right here, I just want to see the weekly close above these two resistance levels here. That's all that matters to me for Bitcoin. All right. You close above those two levels. You can see clearly there's one more resistance on the candle bodies. And that's it right there for Bitcoin. And that level is going to be about 104,494 for BTC. All right. I've been long since yesterday when we opened the first trade towards the end of the stream. Amen. I bought in. Yeah. Shout out to anyone who's in massive gains with BTC. And shout out to anyone that just got the education and was able to see it themselves, see it, or able to just see, we're able to get the education with the group. God bless everybody here on the live. Thank you for being here. These are the times of gratitude and amazement that we got through insane price action. It went up, it went down, it went all around. And it didn't matter. We stayed true to the game no matter what. And look, hidden bullish divergence. That's the one reason I stayed in. That's the one reason I bought. And then the fear was just so high. When the fear and greed gets, when the fear gets to a 10, now we're getting into the greed. Like, it's going to get higher and higher. Soon we're going to be into the greed. And it's just crazy how quick, though, we get in there. Like, before we used to hang out and have a little more time. Now I feel like we're just right into the greed. Right into the greed. And it's just crazy. So now we want to take a look here. Just what a beautiful move. So now for the weekly, we just want to make sure that we close above 102,473. Very, very important. Close above that level, great. If not, it is a rejection. And then you're like, well, could we come all the way back to 98.4? I mean, there's not much support. A little bit right there at about 101.2. So, and you can see Bitcoin already kind of falling right here at 103,000, about to lose that 200. That little gain that we had here. And is it like going to bounce? Let's take a look here. Choppy price action. And it is Friday after massive liquidations. You know what I mean? So you're going to have lower volume. People took gains, don't get me wrong. But people took gains and people got liquidated. So there's going to be price action on either side of this. And it's a lower volume Friday. A lot of people are chasing right now that didn't get into the gains yesterday, right? So asking funny questions about other, so can we get this bounce is the question. Move the stop look a little above a break even there. Just like there's no reason to give back any gains, and I can saddle back in if I have to. So I was just covering while we're hanging out. All right. So Bitcoin, it would be nice if it could close above basically the open 102,600. All right, 102.6. That's what we're looking for here on the weekly. 5-day, what a beautiful pump. I mean, you just can't ask for much better. Just want to make sure we close these candles. Tonight, the 3-day candle closes. Want to make sure that candle closes nice and right there. So 102.6, and then the all-time high really on the weekly, not much left. The 3-day chart just breaking back above resistance too. You can see Bitcoin getting a bit of a drop now to the downside. Makes me wonder, are we going to get like a bigger pullback, right? And it might be just time to trade. Close this trade here too. Does it bounce right back up? Or is it time to take profits? I put the stop high in profit anyway, no matter what. So look, it's about to possibly put me out. That's okay. So I just sold that trade about $300. And I just keep growing every account that I'm using, And, I basically wait for perfect times to make bigger trades. So you don't have to overtrade. That's the key. It's about trading at the right time. I mean, specifically with large amounts too. So look at the daily. It's away from the 21-day moving average. We're possibly making a tweezer top. And I talked about this in my weekly screen share last night with everybody. And it's, this is what likely happens every time, right? We come back to the 21-day moving average. We look for some type of support and resistance here. And we come back to the 21-day moving average. But Bitcoin's, highly speculative right now. A lot of people are into it. And it could make an uptrending flag. Something like this. For sure. and go further to the upside, something like that, very well. So that's the one thing that I'm looking at here for Bitcoin. Does it make this sideways price action pump before the bigger breakout, or does it come back to the 21-day moving average? All right. More than likely, it usually comes back to the 21. That's just what you see happen many, many times, but no guarantees. You see? So, again, the most cautious trader would just say, okay, it's going to come back to the 21, no sweat. And you don't want to be chasing. Huge pump yesterday, massive short squeeze. It takes a lot of money to do that. Now we got to find our way. Where's Bitcoin going to settle? Look, after every massive pump, look how many days it took Bitcoin. It's going to take some days again. It's usually not something you're just going to see overnight, just absolutely, So we had 8-9 day consolidation, couple day pump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can hold shift and go sideways here. 15-day consolidation pump. That was a 9-day, 10-day consolidation into the pump, or 9-day. So, Bitcoin's going to consolidate likely. I mean, does it just continue to rip? You never know. That's why I watch the small time frames, but we'll see. What we'd like to see, though, is sideways or uptrending flags, which could happen. It doesn't mean we have to come back down. We could definitely do something like this. We're in such a bullish state, this would make the most sense to me for the predicament that we're in. But at the same time, that is some speculation. But it's based on years of data and playing around. But, if we close a daily candle below 1019 there, then we'd have to start assuming we're coming back to the 21 somewhere lower around 98,000, 99K. But if we can kind of keep closing candles above 101 or 102, I'd say 102,000, 102.2, then we're in for some sideways price action that's very, very bullish. That would also spark altcoins just to rip, because this would be like Bitcoin's ripping sideways. Like we're not giving back anything, but we're going sideways, getting ready for the next pump for the altcoins. So this would show that there was going to be a pretty nice pump here for the alts. You'd get a little excited, you'd be like, wow. Either way, a bullish sign for the market, right? But just, what happens now is a lot of people chase, and then the market pulls back a little bit, and a lot of people get wrecked. And it's a low volume Friday, so big money took their money. And now, now it's time to kind of look around and see what's happening. You can see, too, the RSI is pretty high. So that's getting a little overbought. Stochastics RSI, kind of mid-range, turned around. And so it's still kind of, if you look at it, it's got momentum, though, crossing the dotted line again. But you see what I'm saying? Never did a full cycle, just something to think about. But that's also a very bullish sign. It just couldn't. It was so bullish. And that's the thing about indicators. You got to know how to bend and weave with the different indicators. Like we saw this, right? I saw this broadening, and I started talking about this before it happened. You can't say I didn't. You can say, but how, Sam? I've seen this before. And then I said, Bitcoin did the exact same thing over here. I said it made this wacky, look like it was going to make a right shoulder, like shoulder, head, like literally to the bears. They were like, wow, a beautiful head and shoulder. But that's just not what happened. Okay. And oversold stochastic too, with the big push to the upside, lack of bearish momentum in the MACD, and this thing was gone. Anyway, it wasn't like, okay, but above the 200 MA, 21-day crossing too, very bullish sign. And again, if you've stuck with me, we've been using this on the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the daily. It doesn't matter the time frame. I've been using this exact strategy over and over and over again to make gains. I've been looking for flags of any type, consolidation near the 21, above the 200 MA. And by golly gee oh my, we got that move. Also, when the daily looks interesting, use the 22-hour time frame. When the daily looks kind of strange or it's giving you mixed signals, I always back off to the 22. At 22, you look how clear that stochastic RSI signal was right there, and we got the bounce. Anyway, beautiful time to be alive. Shout out to anyone that took gains with the lifer. And then we were able to take more gains there throughout the day, right? You can see here, look, this could get back inside the pattern. But like that looks like cat ears to me. Almost looks like, you know, a shoulder, elongated head and shoulder. But for me, like, it would have to break back inside the pattern. But if it does, then I'd take the pattern seriously again. You know, broken patterns, you get back inside, then it is what it is. So, like, this pumps back inside, gets sideways, then, hey. You know, I'd be forced to probably take a long with a stop below that wick to see where we could go. So, about, what, 105,696 for BTC. So right now, and we're going to zoom on in. So the daily, you know, 22 looks good. 8 hour. Very overbought. Away from the 21. You're looking for sideways price action, you know. It's unlikely Bitcoin's just going to rip now out of nowhere. I mean, that was beautiful. Not only did we go to 100K, we went all the way up to like 104. 104,306. Height of the candle here on Binance was 104,361 and 30 cents. So, gorgeous. Gorgeous. And, you know, it may not be over. We may get just sideways price action for 8 to 16, maybe even 20 hours here. 24 hours. And then we'll reconvene. But and the alts will just go nuts here. We go nice and sideways for Bitcoin. Catch up with the 21 on the 4-hour time frame. So, you know, I'll be watching this here. You know, again, anything we could start to make a dump. And this is what I call the twisted sister. I don't know what's going to happen. And it doesn't matter to me, really. I know how to trade it either way. I'm just going to be watching for price action and confirmation. Like, look at that. That's like shoulder, head, right shoulder. Like, that doesn't look too bullish, right? To me, it looks a little weird. I have to be honest. So, I'm not, oh, wow, that's amazing. You know, you could say, well, it's bat in the broadening wedge again, I guess, you know. But to me, it looks a little bearish. So once I have my projections, I understand that I kind of keep them in my head because they can be confusing if you put too many lines, right? You can't have stuff all over the place. But, you know, then we just kind of map this out. But you'd almost expect that to, you know, swing up. It's got a bearish divvy. But again, you never know, right? Once you think you know what's going to happen, Bitcoin will do the opposite, right? So look at me live. Like, I'm always like, hey, I know nothing but the fact of my own ignorance because I have no clue. If I was like, oh yeah, it's going to do this for sure. Now I can put it in some type of perspective and say, hey, it'll be nice if it does that. If it does, then great. You know? So like it could go sideways and we might get a pump later on. It might take 8 hours, 6 hours. And boom, $108,000 BTC, right? Getting really high up too for the 21 and the 200. They're getting really far apart. I like when these are just a lot closer, right? And again, when they're tight, time to get in. When they're far apart, you start thinking about taking profits. 102,800 for Bitcoin. Thank you for the 397 lifer likes today. You're the best. God bless everyone that gave those likes. You're awesome. And may God bless every single person here that helps the channel grow and explode. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. And the more people that come, the more people that learn. And thank you so much for being here. And dear Lord, thank you for the awesome people that hit that like button and providing the awesome support from around the world. You know, you sit inside depressed. People do all these crazy things with their lives. I used to, you know, wonder, no one's going to listen. Then you open up your life. You go live every day. And you see that the world is full of love. And there's so many people out there waiting for you to say hi, to love you. And it's like, wow. You know, the whole time I sat there, I'm not saying we're pumping. I just want to make sure I don't want to, like, you know, I actually think it's more likely we pull back. That's like a head and shoulder pattern if you see it. At the end of the day, it'd be like your 2 hour, you know, your 4 hour. You're just far away from the 21-day moving average. So I'm just like, I'll show you guys. It's either sideways or a pullback. One of two things. I don't see a huge pump coming for Bitcoin anytime soon. So you can take a deep breath if you missed the pump. And I could be wrong. And I'll keep you updated if I see something change. Right now on a low volume Friday, it's likely you're going to get the slow sell off now. And you're not going to have enough people to replace the buy, you know. So I am giving a prediction that we'll go sideways or down. Back to the 21-day moving average here on the 4-hour time frame. And the stochastics will reset. That's the most likely scenario for Bitcoin. And then some altcoins are going to pull back that follow that, like, you know, and people that kind of rushed in. So, you know, don't feel compelled to go too crazy. Let's take a look at ETH BTC and see what's happening there. So yeah, ETH Bitcoin had a huge rip. And it's away from the 21-day moving average. Now again, we'll flag both these out. Either one, they're pretty bullish. Like one's a little, just more of a you know, diagonal bull flag. But yeah, it still shows there's a nice uptrend for ETH BTC. So definitely something on the radar that I'd be paying attention to. All right. ETH might finally be ready to turn your Bitcoin into more Bitcoin. And it's been a long time. It's been a long, long time. But what a beautiful pump for ETH Bitcoin. And then we'll go to ETH, you know. And again, shout out to anyone that traded ETH with me. I hadn't traded ETH in years. Everyone in my group was like, Sam's trading ETH? Like, what's going on? Wow, it went to 2,491. And for ETH, that's just an amazing pump. 1,800 all the way up to 2,500 bucks. I mean, $700 on 1,800 bucks. And, you know, it's about time. And honestly, for me, I just like my strategy, like sideways price action, touching the 21 above the 200 MA. You know, we even had a bullish divergence there on the indicator. And even, you know, I've been in ETH since around here. I got into this ETH trade and it was simple to me. Stop loss below the 200, let it ride, and there ETH went. So it was highly likely ETH was going to make a big move to the upside. For me, one of the most obvious trades I've ever seen in my life. Again, I should have put $10 million in it, right? If I would, you know, but again, I just like to add to what I already have. No reason to be crazily risky. And that was just a beautiful pump for Ethereum. And so I made a couple $1,000s and I hadn't traded ETH in a long time. Same thing here for Ethereum though. I do see it's just too far for the 21-day moving average. Unless something happens that I've never seen or we just get absolutely out of control here, I just don't see Ethereum just absolutely exploding. You know, gonna take some time. The target is $2,800 though. You know, we will see about a $2,800 Ethereum in my humble opinion, but it looks like it's gonna pull back for, I don't know, speculate on some time, 3 days, 3 to 4 days, yeah, 2 to 3 days, something like that. Beautiful move for Ethereum though. And is Bitcoin getting back inside the pattern or is it just dipping off? It looks like it's doing a bearish retest possibly, right? Yeah, bearish retest right there, fell off a bit. A little bit of divergence though. It might not have enough volume to do either, you know, just kind of sit pretty. So, absolutely beautiful times to be alive. So yeah, it's almost like the calm after the massive wave, the pump. How many people believe that we could get to $120,000 by the end of May? Right? 100, man, who said sell in May and go away? Right? What happened to the bears? The bears are absolutely gone. Okay? 120K by end of May. And people are like, I know nothing, right? I know. But for fun, 102K by the end of May. Yes or no? What do you think? I mean, do I even need to say, but I'll write it in it just in case. Like Bitcoin, you know, we know what we're talking about. Bitcoin to 102,000 by the end of May. Yes or no? There you go. I say yay, but you never know, right? I mean, I also never like to, you know, you never know. You never know, right? So shout out to the Bears, man. God bless all the Bears. We appreciate you and we thank you, because without bear tiers, without all the liquidations, where would we be? You know? So there's someone on the other side of every trade, everybody. So if you won, say that, you know, pour a little out for the bears. And God bless all those shorts, all those people that thought Bitcoin was going to the downside. And they watched a lot of channels or people that told them that we were dumping, and they believed it. And I remember talking about it all, you know, throughout the entire time I was in Token 2049 with Jamie. And I was like, man, but there's just so much liquidity up there, and everyone, they got people thinking one way, which is really, you know, really the whole point, right? And you could just, I don't know. To me, I could hear the liquidity, you know. It was crazy. So 120K now, 120K, not 102. Oh, wait, did we miss out? Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. All right, we'll flip it. New poll. I always do some odd thing with the typo there. Bitcoin to 120K by end of May. There we go. Bitcoin to 120K by end of May. So sorry. There we go. I got you. Thanks for all you do, man. Can you look at Move? We'll take a look at Move. Move was in a nice little flag to the upside, and thank you so much for the super chat. Let's take a look at Move, and we'll get it moving here on Move. God bless everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Okay. Move took a beat down, as you can see. But like everything else, look, it's been in this beautiful uptrend. And every time it kind of dips, it gets another pump. You know, I'm watching all these altcoins and they look bullish. Like, you know, and look at that trend that you got going on. So, for me, high risk right now, but, you know, high reward. And again, I don't know if I trade Move, but it does. If I was just looking at any coin, I mean, look at that. It's a beautiful uptrend. And from 15 to 17, it's been ripping. And so what I would look for is if it consolidates inside this, then you know you have like a really nice, you know, parabolic move here to the upside. So Move does, you know, no pun intended. Move does look interesting. Hey, Move looks good though. You know, it does. I mean, look at it. It's in a massive uptrend. Higher highs and higher lows. Like no reason to stop until it does. So it looks good to me. I like what I'm seeing there. Bang, bang, bang. Thoughts on Turbo token? Yeah. Turbo, I like Turbo. Turbo took a big pump. When Ethereum pumps, every one of these little coins likes to pump. So I could see Turbo doing damage. Let's take a look at Turbo right now and see what's happening on Turbo. Not one of my, you know, I like the coin. Don't get me wrong. Has a pretty good cult following. And the guy who made it, I think he had no idea what was going to happen. Very organic. You have to love that about Turbo. I'm not into Turbo, though. I don't have a huge, you know, bag. It does look like it's going to break out. Look at that. 72% gains coming out of Turbo. It says it's going to basically back to a penny. It's going to burn a zero. So, hey, it is up since the last time we looked at it. Somewhere there, what, 058? Yeah, because right before it broke out, it already kind of pushed out a little bit now. And again, who knows? Anything could happen, but it's got a great community, good following. And if anything continues to get a pump, I mean, Turbo will move with the rest of the market. All right. I know 102K by the end of May is so crazy, right? Now it goes back the other way. No. Shout out to the 77. Look at that, 77%. You got to love that. 319 votes. People say yes. 120K by the end of May. It's going to happen. We're going to rip all the way to $120,000 Bitcoin. Have to happen. It's going to happen no matter what. I mean, you never know. You never know. Let's take a look at Crypto Rank. I like to see what people are doing. You know, the idea is people are going to start lending. They're going to jump on into protocols again and all sorts of DeFi. And it's only a matter of time. Your optimisms, right? Your SUI lens. Virtual back to $2 too. I'd love to see that. Solana at 168 for anyone that held on. I mean, unbelievable. It was a close one, man. It was a close one. So, top 20 search coins in the last 7 days. Redstone, SWE, Move. People still like Move. I'm not a huge fan, but people seem to like it for whatever reason. Maybe they're on it. I'm not on it. SWE looks hot. I'm not saying all this has to be hot just because it's here. SOLAR just continues to do damage. Finally down after a huge pumping, but definitely something I'm going to take a look at to see if, just for even for swing trading purposes. And Aptos, which usually moves with Optimism, they kind of go hand in hand. I have a bag of both. Arbitrum too as well. They're like the three old school OGs. And Bitcoin. And then what are the top, most visited coins in the last 7 days? OBOL Technologies, OBOL. That's a new one. $26 million market cap. So write that down, brand new. And people are going to start writing that down, talking about it, OBOL. And again, a lot of these coins come out after VCs have already got in super early. I'm not saying that happened to OBOL, but a lot of times it has. The idea is I just swing trade these. I'm not saying they're like, the best things in sliced bread. I'm just looking for good liquidity or something that no one knows about yet. Coins that get 5x, 10x, 6x. You never even know before the market really starts to understand what it is. OBOL Technologies, brand new. And I saw it actually, I think I saw it on Token Metrics too. So it's on my radar now, OBOL. That's a new coin. Layer 0 on the radar, up 6%. Bear Chain back at 384. Man. And Bitcoin, 777s, 102 777s. You got to love that right there. So yeah, just kind of deep diving a bit there. Deep diving. And then I like to take a look here at Coin Market Cap and see if there's any coins that are kind of popping out of me. They're saying, hey, just right off the bat that are stronger than the rest. Python Network looking really strong. Look at that. People jumping on in the last 24 hours. Really got the biggest move. Nothing else too crazy, right? Atom back to 490. You want to see that crack $5. XDC Network. Jupiter 53. Okay, we'll take it. Casper back at 10 cents. Strong. So the market's showing, strength. Cake too. These are things that are fun to trade that can get some traction. Fetch. SWE. SWE really the strongest coin in the game. Cardano showing signs of life too. And I got some setups in a bunch of coins already inside the trading. Walrus, one of the newer coins coming out there as well to kind of be respected at 63. Okay. So yeah. Deep diving. My deep divers. And Bitcoin holding 102.8, kind of doing an inverted head and shoulder here on the smaller time frame. Right? I mean, look at that. Shoulder, head, right shoulder, 68% of the time, that's going to break back to the upside for Bitcoin. And that target takes you to 103,000. That's just old school TA. Let's see if that plays out or if we get rejected by the 200 MA. But that's telling you, hey, that's such a beautiful pattern. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful inverted head and shoulder. And that'll take you to 103,490 for Bitcoin. And we should know if that's going to take place in the next 15 to 20 minutes. Can we take a look at Cow? Somebody says. Shout out to Stefan Mallet. God bless you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Let's take a look at the fan funding and see what people are saying here. Sammy the Man, thanks for all you do. Can we look at Move? We did take a look at Move. Thank you. Can you chart TARS? And thank you so much. Go to the gym, bro. We love you. Shout out to Acto4. Can you look at TARS AI, Sammy? Thank you. We'll take a look at TARS. And shout out to Tori, who asked about CELR, right? CELR. And BLZ, please. Whiff. Hugs from Milan. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Shout out to Andrea Grimaldi. And can we take a look at Cow? So we got Cow, Whiff, and BLZ, Blue Zell, right? TARS AI and CELR. So we're going to start here with TARS AI. We're going to jump on in so that's TAI. Let's take a look here at TARS AI on Mexi. I like what I'm seeing right off the bat. If I just bring this up, and here you see we're getting tight. We just got to respect the trend line. Respect this trend line. I see us getting a nice little pump to the upside here for TARS AI. Back to 13 cents too. From 9 cents, that would be a nice little pump. Again, be careful. Order book may be a little slimmer. Stop loss anywhere somewhere in the range. Don't put it, But But I like that. Look at that. I mean, TARS AI could make a nice pump here, but it's going to have to respect the trend line. The second it goes below that 200 MA, no good. I would watch it on the 15-minute time frame. Make sure that it respects this trend line and gets sideways. If it loses this trend line, it could easily fall down to the 200 MA. And then it's, So, yeah, for me, I always like to set the trap and wait for price action. But that bounces and goes sideways. I mean, you got yourself a nice high probability move there. But I'd be watching it closely. Very, very closely. But thank you so much for the super chat from Act 04, the 250 pound. We appreciate you. That will come back to you tenfold. You didn't have to give, but you did. That's so nice. And then Tori for CELR. Let's take a look at CELR. Did CELR get the pump like the rest of the market? Oldie but goodie. CELR, baby. CELR. Been around. I feel like it's been around forever now. The CELR network. But it's been a long hold for not a lot of return. Let's be honest, right? Let's be honest. Unless it's being swung trade, like every time it's up here, you sell, come back in, sell, come back in, sell. All right, it does a 3x every time. And now it's lower than it ever was. Like a lot of coins, I have to be honest. But they all got this like inverted head and shoulder. They got the pump. Tight moving averages. You would expect the pump all the way to the 200 MA. So I expect a lot of coins just to continue to launch here to the upside. All right, you got this flag. You've got the measured move. Yeah, resistance for sure when you get there. But I see a pump up to the 200 MA here on the daily time frame for CELR. Again, now the chase is on, like what happens when and how, all that fun stuff. And like Bitcoin, like what we're looking for now is like, could this make an inverted? This loses this level, then you're starting to talk about, okay, you're going to drop down to your next resistance and support. I'd like to see this bounce. Honestly, it looks like it's going to, we're getting a really bigger movement in the whole market, but we need the, exactly, like something like this. All the altcoins to kind of do their thing. And then boom. Now, again, I don't like this coin. I'm not in it. But, my man Tori always asks about it for the last like 3 years. So whenever he super chats, I'm pretty sure that's what he's asking about. But shout out to you, man. Thank you. Let's take a look at BLZ. Blue Zell. Now, I traded this coin like 2019 in the summer, I believe, and 2020. I'm not a fan of it anymore. Kind of just like, it's just so old. And for me, it just, I thought it was going to be amazing. Every time there's a coin, I really research. And then years later, it's just whatever's, I'm pretty done. Shout out to anyone who's asking about it. I don't mean to be rude. And blessings, if it's your coin. Everything that got tight with the moving averages, we do look for that move back up to the 200 MA. So I'm looking for the pump to the 200-day moving average, but can we get it? It doesn't look amazing. But I see this many, many times, so hey, but would be a spiked up move. I just, not every coin's a winner here. And this coin is from back in the day. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say and do should be taken as financial advice. Please get yourself a financial advisor. Do your own due diligence before getting into any project, coin, or trade. So it's up to you. And it is likely to pump up to the 200. I've seen it many times and maybe even continue all the way back up to these highs here at 17 cents, which would be a really nice move for it if you think about it. But is it ever going to get back to the all-time highs where it really was back in the day? I don't know. And I don't really see the team tweet. I just don't see a lot of action coming out of this area, but who knows? It's got some gaming. It's mixed with gaming. So there's some mixed stuff in there. It depends. You know what I mean? It all depends. And shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. And now let's take a look at WIF. Someone asked about WIF. I think we got a $500 super chat in here, maybe even more, coming in from the AED. Blessings on blessings. Can you look at Tau again? We'll take a look at Tau, man. Shout out to Anoop. God bless Anoop. Sunda Rapani, right? Anoop, we love you, man. We appreciate you. And God bless you. Thank you so much. The 2500 AED, Arab Emirates, Durham, right? The Durham, man. And I was just there in Dubai, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. God bless you. That's very nice of you. That's a big chunk of change right there. That's a big chunk of change. God bless you. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate that. He didn't have to give, but he did. I mean, $700 in chat revenue today, $746 in chat revenue. If that doesn't get people going to go after your dreams, you're like, man, anything can happen on any given day when you're out here putting yourself out here every single time, man. Thank you so much. Bang for the $500 super chat. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm going to buy steaks tonight and redo steak night. I don't know what happened last night. Got steaks from the farm. We like them. They were awesome, but this this ever happened to you? The steaks were just too tight to eat. We could not eat the steaks. They were too tight to eat. Unable to eat. Very strange. I got through a couple, like one of them, but they're just, and it wasn't, I've cooked steaks the same way, done what I do, but it was the same thing. I don't know what happened there. It's happened to me one other time before. I got some halal steaks that were hard to eat, but it was years ago. And we're going to take a look at WIF Cow. Wow, we got so many super chats here coming through. So many people asking questions. Thank you so much. Andrea Grimaldi asking about WIF. Now WIF back to 72 cents from the bottom at 28.2. A lot of these things have pumped. And again, we like to close the gap to the 200 MA. Many, many times I've seen it, so I'm expecting it to happen, but wow. And I would just start setting like local support and resistance and looking for sideways price action. If we're going to continue to pump, we need to consolidate. That's just how it is. Otherwise, we'll pull back. And if we pull back, then like if these start to pull back, then you have to realize it's just the daily. We're coming down to the daily 21. And then that will be the next entry. It's okay. And I don't know what's going to happen, either one. So I'd have screens open on the 1 hour while I watch the daily, and I'd have them both open. And I'd be monitoring price action. When I go into bed, I'd be checking certain areas. When I woke back up, I'd see where do we start and stop. Yeah. And yeah, that's it. Basically, if in the next few hours this goes more sideways, then I'm more likely to trade long. Start to make some type of dump and then make a right shoulder, then, look, shoulder, head, right shoulder, then we know what's happening. The daily's coming back down to the 21. You're going to see what happens. The bearish tones will come out on the smaller time frames when the daily wants to push you down. Agreed? Yeah. And let's take a look at Tao. I mean, the man paid. So let's take a look. He wants to be entertained by the chart. So number one, I looked at Tao on the bigger time frame and I saw this big move here and talked about a double bottom down here. And that's in my trading group for a very long-term trade. That trade's up huge already, because the entry was somewhere 176 to 210, 220. And now we're back at 431. So Tao, one of the bigger movers. And then we look for this here, like sideways price action possibly, but not even, kind of a little bit. And then we got the pump. Now we're getting above the daily 200 MA. That's very bullish. And you get a couple closes above that. And we just want to see Tao just make some sideways price action. And then it's going to make its next leg to the upside, which takes it to about 544. Yeah, 550. So only a matter of time for me that Tao continues to pump. And a very, very bullish sign for Tao. And you can see stops below never got hit. Tao continuing to do damage. So, yeah. And we originally gave it here too, shoulder, head, right shoulder. And that just boomed to the upside. I can delete everything too and look fresh again on the 3-day chart just to kind of like, and I just see this giant double bottom. And you can see the measured move is basically the length here. And that suggests you're going to get a bigger pump. Somewhere up to about $1,200 Tao. So that's a 3x from where we're at now. And Tao, 5 years, 6 years from now, could be a bigger coin. $2,000, $3,000, maybe even $5,000 coin, Again, other people speculate on that idea. I would just swing trade it for this rally and call it a day. And that's my thing. I'm not into but I see Tao doing numbers over time. And this is already in my trading group. We already have a long-term thesis for Tao, an idea, a whole setup too. So you can check it out if you want. And shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for being here and appreciate each and every one of you for jumping on in. sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. We're going to continue to show you information that's going to blow your mind every single day here on the channel. Unbelievable, though. This is crazy what happened here. And you can already always something crazy happening on the channel. Thanks for showing up day in and day out, Sam. God bless. We appreciate you. Join the Lifer family. It'll change your life. Like and subscribe. Shout out to Milligan's Travel. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Michael Reinhardt. Thanks for all you do, man. Can we take a look at AR Arweave? If I believe you're asking correctly. And XRP targets to look at. God bless. Lucky thoughts. YFI broke historical levels yesterday. Look, please. Can we look at Cow? So we got to look at Cow, YFI, and XRP. So Cow. On CoinEx, on MEXC, let's take a look at Cow. I remember we looked at Cow a long time ago. It looked like it was bullish. A while back. Right here, look. It came up, went sideways, broke down again, but then, wow, went on a rally, right? I like to look at things on the daily to see kind of what's happening on the bigger time frame. So again, pumping up towards the 200 MA. You just see this all the time. And look, a shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. And the market erupted. Everything kind of broke out of these flags to the upside. And that's kind of what every altcoin did. Now they're kind of still inside. Some are still inside a bigger move. Some are looking more to pull back. You know, it depends on where they are in the rally cycle here. I mean, that looks bullish to me. But again, I would flag it out. Is it just going to rip on the 1 hour and continue to go do damage? Possibly. Let's see. You just have to know, every time you go at something that's already been pumping pretty hard, you're chasing a bit. And if you end up getting hit off or it does a stop hunt, especially on a Friday, then you can't get upset, you know. That's why, because things get high risk, I'm all about buying low stochastics at the bottom of the pattern. Again, it's not perfect. It's before everyone talks about the pump, but that's usually when you're going to get something crazy happen. I mean, this looks pretty bullish. I have to be honest, on the 1 hour and the 15-minute time frame. Bit of a rising wedge that could break to the upside and go on some parabolic run here. So Cal looks bullish to me. You know, an ascending triangle. I wouldn't be surprised if it got one more pump. Up to about 42 cents would be the target for me for Cal. Again, I don't know. I don't own any of it, but the TA looks pretty nice to me. YFI, I haven't talked or looked at this coin in a long time. Maybe a couple years, really. Since the last time I even mentioned this thing. YFI. You know, when you look at it, it's still inside a bit of a, you know, that's some tight price action right there. And that tells me there could be some more movement. Hey, I like what you're looking at here. That looks good to me because we know it's a bigger coin. It takes a little more liquidity, right? That looks pretty interesting to me. Again, I could wait for it to get a little more consolidate slightly, but wow. And remember, this is a $6,000 coin, and we can see it go up to 69, well, about $900 off 6,000. You know, almost 1/6. Not too bad. Could definitely happen for sure. So, YFI, wow, you give me memories, man. It's been so long. YFI, thank you so much. And then XRP. Let's take a look at XRP. Okay, back at 235. You gotta love it. We still call that top. Remember at like 286. Been a long time locally. So let's take a look. Again, all about that 200 MA. We came back and retested it. And that same shoulder, head, right shoulder, and then the flag like we saw. Some coins just a little more higher in the progression than others. Some getting more of a push. Just depends on the liquidity, on the timing. I mean, to me, that's a bit of a like symmetrical triangle. and that could break out. You can see nice support there too off of what, 231. So tightness, breakout, boom. You know, low risk is to wait for the retest of 254. High risk is now, you know, and then or just wait a little more for it to get sideways inside of this triangle. But either way, you know, big moves could be coming for XRP in the long term, and a lot of people have their eyes on XRP. You know, this is a coin that, you know, people just don't want to give up on. Every time I meet retail, someone in the street, I say, hey, what coin do you want? XRP. You know, I recently met 3 new people just in the last year here in my hometown in Florida. Sounds so fun. And everyone had XRP. All 3 people, and they didn't know much about cryptocurrency, but all 3 people held XRP. That's got to tell you something. And they were all different ages. One was like a 55-year-old guy. One was like a 60-year-old guy. One was 55. One was a young, like 20-year-old. All 3 of them held XRP, but they didn't hold Bitcoin either. Like, they held XRP though. So interesting, you know. They still weren't really sold or understood Bitcoin as much, but they were willing to take a shot on XRP. Maybe it was just the marketing, the way it was on Coinbase. It made it easy to grab, and it felt like the, you know, the less risky coin. Or they talked to someone and they said XRP, you know. But I'm just telling people out there, it's interesting, right? It seemed to be the retail coin of choice, and I never thought that would be the case. XRP, you know, pretty interesting, right? So you're getting these higher lows and you're getting tight, and you've been getting tight for a long time. So, you know, and it's kind of an inverted head and, you know, shoulder. It looks like a complex inverted head and shoulder that's been there for a while. That target takes you to about $3.59 for XRP too. And when we get the likes up to the watches, I would greatly appreciate it. Shout out to the 651 beautiful souls though. Thank you so much for everyone that's hitting that like button. I greatly appreciate that. That helps this channel grow and move, especially on a Friday afternoon, man. Unbelievable. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. And shout out to everyone that's throwing down, man. We got so many people here on the channel. $785 in chat revenue. That's absolutely absurd. May God bless each and every one of you that gave. We got Michael Reinhardt asking about AR, which I believe is Airweave. Let's take a look at Airweave. So yeah, and that target for XRP would take it to $3.59. Seems like it would take a bit though. Like, it's not going to get there overnight. So let's take a look at Airweave. Last time I looked at it, I was looking for this double bottom. It did break out beautifully, hit the target, came back down, and then hit the target again. Very, very interesting. I haven't looked at it since it hit the target of the double bottom. So it looks like it's in a big cup with a handle, right? And in the long term, it's going to break out and go all the way back up to this key level. The crazy thing about this bull run is if we get a huge run, a lot of things just have to get back up to where they were. It's not like they get to, usually you get a pull back here and then we go to all-time highs. I don't know if everything's going to go to all-time high if we have the liquidity. If new coins come out too, like, how is every coin going to get back to its all-time high? How a new coin's going to rip? And Bitcoin steal the show as it's been one of the bigger gainers. You know, it tells me that there's, you know, and I could be wrong. I'm speculating on liquidity here and where it's going, but let's be honest. You know, we got to be honest with ourselves. And so that's just one thing that I always keep in the back of my mind. And I think while I'm looking at this, like, you know, and don't be greedy, take profits. So anyway, I'm not in this too. I'm not in Airweave. And it's an older coin now at this point, last cycle coin, technically. So it broke the 200 MA though. Beautiful pump on the 1 hour. That's what you're expecting. Home market erupts. And then, like we're showing that other coin, you know, you're looking for kind of like a bounce here. Otherwise, you're making some type of flag down. This looks more likely like you're going to get the sideways bounce. And again, what I do is I just start adding alerts here too. Might be worth a swing trade here or there. Again, I don't even have to buy coins at the bottom, but I can swing trade them, find out where they're going, what's happening. There's all different ways to use the market to your advantage once you have, you know, a model or a skill to put it on. So look, I'll look for this. If that gets tighter, then I'm going to know. And I just keep alerts there. I can even see my target, $9.52 from 813. And let's take a look. Nerky 530p asks about SWFTC. Swifty coin. Yeah. Let's take a look at Swift coin. And wow, it did get a nice pump there to the upside. Everything kind of erupting. In the last hour, though, it really got a nice move. I'm just watching this sideways price action, looking for it eventually to break out. Looks like it kind of did here again, and it's on its way. The target for me is 07446. Unconventional, though, very sideways, almost a bit of a double bottom. But yeah, I'm looking for this to continue to moon. And it got pretty high, though, away from the 21-day moving average again. So, you know, you'd want to see it make some type of flag. Seems like it's on a bit of a roll, though. Makes more sense that it's in this same pattern. I mean, Bitcoin was able to rip through its top on this and just rip. So that may be its next position here. You know, you want to look for a flag on the 5-minute, the 15-minute. It's getting far away from that 21. What a pump it just had, you know. That's a short squeeze, too. What a monster move. I'd be looking for some type of flag now. 3-minute time frame looks nice. It's like in between. Looks like it could blend in. And if it makes a nice sideways flag, it continues. If not, you know, it could lose volume on a Friday afternoon, but looks like it's going to get crazy. There might be a nice flag there to continue to pump it up a little bit. But just be careful today. So I can see there's a lot of people chasing and a lot of crazy moves out of nowhere. And a lot of people are going to lose their shirt. Like, because if you didn't make gains yesterday, you're going to have this FOMO for, you know, you don't want that. You just got to take a deep breath and be, you know what, we'll get, you know, it'll happen again. So someone asked about Bell's token. Please, Dogecoin's parent, 8-hour cup and handle. Bell's token. Or Bell's, yeah, Crypto Rick. Bell's token. I'm not getting it here. I'm not seeing it. Let's take a deep dive here on Dex Screener and see if what you're asking about is here. All right. Bell's token. I see no bells. For bells, rebels, no. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, I love it though. You know, I'll look at it another time. Thanks for everything. Shout out to Maniacs. God bless you. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat, man, just to say thanks. Blessing, Sam. Thanks for all your hard work. I'm learning every day. Can you take a look at XEN? Thank you. Shout out to Margaret Ness. Thank you for always being there and supporter. Can you look at Solana from Iris Ensing? So we'll take a look at XEN and Solana. XEN. Last time I saw it, it was just kind of hanging out in that lower area, right? Seeing if it could get the bounce off that 618, and then it did. I'm looking for it to kind of complete some type of, like, you know, shoulder, head, right shoulder. Might even make this a little lower, but I'm just watching consolidation. And once that continues to get tight, I still got that measured move on out and then back to its all-time high. And I'm still in XEN2 as well. We started buying the lows. It's higher than it used to be, so it's doing well. And I just see it going sideways, though, taking its time. Yeah. And that next area would take, I don't know, about 3 cents and 5 tenths. Yeah, 3.5 cents. And then Iris Ensing asked about Solana. Solana. So remember, when last time I talked about Solana, I put it on the daily cup and handle, suggesting it was going to break out to the target to 200. And now it's 170. You can see, and you can just see kind of how we looked at it, though. It was just like that. And it did that. You know, it boomed. And this is something we drew in the trading group multiple times. It kept showing over and over and over again. Now, again, getting rejected near the 200 moving average is something I see all the time. Very, 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 you know, very, you know, you could call it coincidental, whatever you want. That's how you know that the 200 kind of runs the show, so to speak, and has a lot to do with what's happening to price action. You know, why do we get rejected here? Why do we get rejected there? Bouncing off of it. And you can go back in time and look at other times when you got rejected or bounced off these 200 MAs. They're so powerful. So Solana bounced away from the 21, got the huge move, very, very fast, short squeeze. Just couldn't believe how many people had shorted the market. Almost like surprising even to me. I knew there were shorts up there, but wow. And so the squeeze was a bit crazier than it should, and price action went a little harder than it should have. Again, everything's kind of watching this now. We just want to see the 4-hour make some beautiful flags. And once that flag sets in there, I could see Solana continuing up to $210. And then, you know, the rest is history for Sol. Crypto Rick wants Bell's coin. Bell's coin on Mexi. Bells. Let's take a look at Bells. So similar, it's got that shoulder, head right shoulder, all the way down in the dumpeesies though. You know, got a nice move. Again, like similar thing. Like I would just have to flag this out. If I caught it in the flag, continuing, let it rip. I mean, I'm a simple guy. I do the same thing over and over again. It gets above there. You can see it could gap up. The next level is about 45 because that's resistance. Bit of a double bottom there. Almost a cup and handle. And I mean, very low volume, as you can see that this flag is. But that would be your others, you know, on the 15-minute, I'd be watching that flag too. But very low volume, I wouldn't be trading this, but you know. Shout out to Ibrahim. God bless you, man. Thank you so much, pal. And he asked about YFI BTC. Another lower high incoming. You know, when you see that ETH is beating up on Bitcoin, you can see a lot of coins kind of ripped up pretty hard. And wow, they got this trading pair on Coinbase too. YFI BTC. Thank you, Sammy, for the alpha you provide in trading. If we join your Saturday class, are we able to watch the replay for future references? You are. Yes, we'll give you a recording. And I do teach class the last Saturday of every month. And I'm going to teach class this Saturday. I had to be moved because I was in Dubai. So if you want to jump on into class, there's still time to hit the QR code here and the link below the video to find out more. And I would love to see you guys in there. It'll be awesome. All right. And if you want to jump on in and trade where we trade, make the gains I made and find out more. Weeks, BitTinex, or MEXC. They're all waiting for you there in the pinned comment. Hey, Sam, can you go over TOSHI, please? Also, go Celtics. I mean, yeah, they better win tonight. I believe they played tonight, and they're in a have-to-win situation. Wow, shout out to the fan funding, though. The bombardment here, $822 in chat revenue. I am so blessed and so thankful for the support and the viewership today. Unbelievable. And thousands of people here on the live. Almost up to 1,000 likes. Maybe get those likes up to the watchers. I would greatly appreciate it. I am super grateful for the 740 likes, though, and all the people that did hit that like button. It's going to come back to you tenfold. Thank you so much for hitting the like button. It's very, very nice. You didn't have to do it, but you did. Blessings on blessings to everybody out there. And God bless everyone here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in, and appreciate each and every one of you for being here, sharing the most precious asset with me, and that is your time. And thank you. Shout out to the whole team that makes this show happen and everybody out there. Short-term TA on lower time frames for TAI. God bless. We did look at that already. It's kind of sat there. Can we look at Maverick Protocol from Michael? Hey, can we look at Pepe, please, bro? Wow. And it's coming in insane here. So YFI BTC. I mean, very low. You can see your next resistance is going to be 0677. That'd be the area I would be looking at with some, you know, open eyes here. And then you finally had a higher low, and possibly a double bottom. Again, I'd be looking for some type of flag like so, yeah, above that 200 MA. 1 hour, 2 hour time frame. So the 2 hours above the 200, the 1 hour is attempting to get back. You know, again, on this pair specifically, lack of volume, so just I wouldn't trade it possibly on Coinbase, but not this pair. You know, it has great liquidity on other places. Coinbase is great. Love you, Coinbase. No, but YFI, BTC, yeah, I could see it breaking out. You know, and a lot of coins are starting to beat up on Bitcoin. You know, we saw that with ETH Bitcoin that we already looked at. That's kind of that indication. You know, is it finally alt season? It's the beginning of something happening. You can see a lot of altcoins absolutely getting ripped. You can see a lot of people on the live stream giving, you know, throwing super chats too. And that's another thing that happens during alt season. So like, you know, my show shows alt season. You know, when it gets frenzied and people are just going at alts and just it's getting crazy on the live. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Sam, for the alpha you provide in the trading group. God bless you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Leverage, just want to say thank you. You've helped in my trading and also managing my emotions outside of trading. Heroes can be found in the strangest places. Love you, brother. Shout out to you, man. Thank you so much for saying that. God bless you. Happy Friday, Sam. Can you go over TOSHI? Also, go Celtics. Let's take a look at TOSHI. And that should be Brian Armstrong's cat, right? If I'm correct. So TOSHI, did the dolphin dip? Had the big rip? Let's delete everything, kind of freshen out, and see what's happening to TOSHI on the bigger time frame. And then we can kind of zoom on in, whittle our way on down, and see what's happening to TOSHI. For me, it's always important to see it from a bigger perspective and then kind of zoom on in. That's really how I learn the most. And every single time I'm looking at a chart, that's what I want to be looking for is, you know, just that, you know, something that I've seen, something that connects. So like the weekly's pretty big. We don't get a lot of information from it if the chart's pretty new. So the first thing, yeah, really 22-hour time frame is the yeah, there you really want to see that 200 if you can on the price action, right? So I mean, like a lot of coins, it seemed to have bottomed. Came back up, made a higher low, and then we had the crazy pump, like everything, right? We had the crazy pump. So now you got to set the parameters for the support and resistance. You're going to get rejected by the 200 MA and just back to the 21-day moving average on like the 12. I'm using the 12 here. And when that comes back and we get tight and the stochastics reset, there could be a beautiful move there for TOSHI. And that could be its final higher low. So you're looking for one more higher low. And this is kind of how the whole market's looking. It's just a small microcosm of it. And then boom, you know, total market cap's going to look like this. Total 3 is going to look like this. It's all going to look similar. And so you're looking, you know, again, it's got some cup and handle vibes. And you're going to come back to similar areas of support and resistance. And you might stay above that 00043 area, but that's kind of, that would be key. That would be more bullish than bearish for sure. And that's what you'd be looking at. All right. Okay. Now, one more here. Wow, it's like Maverick Protocol somebody asked about. MAV. Let's take a look at Maverick Protocol on MEXC. Same thing. Tight moving averages. Pumping up to what? The 200 MA. You know, very similar idea here. And you can see how the 200 just keeps coming into play. Now, over time, yes, I see the daily making the moves up to the daily. But you got to find your way inside the smaller time frame. So once you're like, okay, we got the higher low. I see us headed up. Then how do I get in? Well, now you're looking for flags. And there's a bit of a flag there on the 1 hour time frame. This thing's been on fire, though. I mean, look how many green candles in a row it's just had. That's nuts. And maybe it continues. High risk, high reward, and I would see it going somewhere up to about 8 cents right now, right? 6.9 to 8.6 for Maverick Protocol. Not one of my favorite coins, but hey, if it pumps, it pumps, baby. And shout out to anyone in there. 1 hour says a big move's coming on Bitcoin. Somebody is saying out there in Bitcoin land. We'll take a look at Bitcoin and we'll stay on it. And we'll see if there is going to be that move coming. Right now, below the 200 MA, just not my thing. And, we got a pump there out of the inverted head and shoulder, but it was not sustainable. Not a continuation pump that we're looking for. Not all the way to the upside here. And, again, anything is possible. Wow, it's still technically inside of the flag on like a 15-minute time frame. I'd say it's still consolidating, and it could go either way. That could still bounce and get tight there. Anything can happen. I'm with it, but Right now you have a high, a lower high, almost head and shoulder pattern vibes. And yeah, I'm just kind of 5 minute time frame, 200 MA too. You know, yeah, we're starting to lose the 5 minute 200, which to me was, but again, let's watch. You know, we might go more sideways. So I'm seeing more downside possibly for Bitcoin. More like it's more rolling over, but anything is possible. Anything is possible. Yeah, crazy the support, man. This guy gives a 2,500 dirham. 2,500 dirham. Unbelievable. Thank you so much, man. So nice of you. You didn't have to do that, but you did. That's going to come back to you tenfold. May God bless you 100 times over for that. You didn't have to do that, but you did. Unbelievable. Let's take a look at Pepe here. Short-term TAI. We'll go over TAI again on the short term. Someone asked about on the lower time frames. And that's going to be like the 1 minute, the 5 minute, right? Smaller time frame. Yes, we're looking for this to bounce here, really, for TAI. But now, like, it's losing the 200 MA now and not showing signs of life. You know, 5 minute not looking amazing. And so just same thing I said here earlier was just, you know, you have to put it in here and look for the bounce. And you got to get this you got to get a bounce sooner than later. And so in the next 2-3 hours, we'll know. Either you're going to come back down for this double bottom or you're going to bounce. And if it bounces, then we got something brewing here that could possibly pump into the night and into tomorrow. Yeah, and it could bring us all the way up there. You know, that's what I would be looking at. And that's TARS AI. So same thing. We already brought this up earlier today, but just to bring it up again, we got another super chat, same idea. And let's take a look at Pepe. Everybody's favorite coin. It was the biggest meme. It really began the whole meme craze. You know, without Pepe, I don't know if we'd be here. You know, Pepe started this whole entire cycle. Will it end the cycle? You know, beginning and end, right? So a little flag there for Pepe, and it eventually did pump like every coin was supposed to out that flag and got rejected by what? The 200 moving average on the daily. Very, very obvious price action and getting stretched away from the what? The 21-day moving average on the daily. So we can all kind of see this same pattern. Now, Pepe made this new low in a double bottom there. Like, it started down there. Remember, it's still higher than when we first found it at, which is crazy if you really think about it. I mean, it's over time, Pepe still reigns supreme. Getting overbought there in the stochastics, huge pump, but really on the bigger time frames, really far away from the 21. Almost kind of like a short squeeze. So yeah, we're left to kind of watch flags on the 1 hour time frame and see if they can continue to pump. And then at one point, we're going to have to get more sideways price action. But yeah, there could be one more big pump here for almost all the altcoins. You know, and then we can kind of start to get even more sideways price action throughout, you know, after this weekend. But that liquidity's got to go somewhere. If Bitcoin kind of stalls out and goes sideways, we could definitely see a bigger move in these altcoins for sure. And thank you so much, man. So many super chats, like the most we've had in a long time. Unbelievable. And I couldn't get back to live chat. It was out of control. Shout out to everyone that threw down right there on that frenzy of super chats. Unbelievable. Shout out to Lakochi Coker. Thank you for being here, Lakochi. Shout out to all the awesome people here on the Blue Crew, hanging out with the lifer. Can you look at Turbo? Yeah, Housecoin, LTC, and yeah. We looked at Turbo already. Yeah, blessings on blessings. Shout out to everybody here on the live, and you know, it's time to dance. Nah, but you got to rejoice, man. For all the times that they put us down, for all the times they said we weren't going to make it, for all the times it said crypto was a joke, for all the times they laughed in our face and said it wasn't going to happen, for every single time I threw down on Bitcoin. When it looked bleak, when I knew that I had to, when the times were tough, when the fear was heavy, and we made it through no matter what. Shout out to everybody here that had faith in themselves and faith in cryptocurrency. No matter what happened, we made it through. And these are the days to be alive. These are the days to look back. These are the days to say, hey, I was part of something bigger than myself, but I still believed in myself too as well. Cryptocurrency, man. We're changing the world one day, one step, one moment at a time. Every single time we show up on this live stream and you contribute, you're changing the world. You're changing adoption. You're helping someone else find out about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. Even if they just hear what Bitcoin is and they start learning. Let's go. Shout out to Crypto Billy in the house. Shout out to Ivan Rogue. Shout out to anyone jumping on into Bitcoin Las Vegas. And I have it up every single day. You got to join us in Bitcoin Las Vegas. You're going to have an absolute blast. Hit the QR code to find out more. Bang. That's going to be amazing. So many people ready to go there. I was solidifying the tickets yet again yesterday, just going over everything, making sure. Oh, man, I can't wait. Super chats, WOJAK. Let's take a look at WOJAK. I think I may have done WOJAK, but we'll look at it again in case I didn't. I'd rather do it twice than say I didn't do it. So last time I put it out, I did, look for a move there, and it did pump beautifully to the upside. So shout out to anyone that jumped into WOJAK. But yeah, those tweezers are tops away from the 21-day moving average. Same scenario for a lot of things, but even worse here for WOJAK. Almost want to see a bounce here. If not, it looks like, I don't know, Looks like it got a little squeamish on the memes. Squeamish on the memeish. But squeamish, right? You would need a bounce here sooner than later. Otherwise, it's just, I don't know. Goes up and down, and then, yeah, we find I'd got to give that time and let it kind of find its way, right? But definitely a sell-off pretty fast. Mr. Lifer, Dogelon Mars. I know it sounds so meme. I think it held its own. I mean, Dogelon Mars has been around a long time. I was trading that thing, and I held it long term, like, I'm talking years ago. And there was the Dogelon Mars. Wow, it made it all the way to MXC after all these years, too. That's crazy. I mean, same thing. It did that inverted head and shoulder. It broke out on the flag. It could get all the way up to the 200-day moving average, but then what? And so you're just watching these flags, You can see one flag breaks down, they all break down. And you're away from the 21, so it's high risk. That's all. A bit of a chase now. That's the problem with these, and the same thing we said last night, So either in for the long haul, you're already in, you're not selling. Or, or I took some profits on some swing trades, and there you go. You go from there, right? And again, I'm not a financial advisor. Like I'm saying, you should be taking this financial advice. That's why I always have to have some lev trades open too, because those are the swing trades you can take profits on and not really worry, not stress while I have long-term trades open. And you have to know your trading style and know more about who you are. Like I know I need to have lev trade open while I got a long-term trade open. I know I need short-term scalps open while I have a long-term, swing trade. I can take the scalp while I let the swing trade cook. Otherwise, it would be harder to let the swing trade cook without the scalp. And I don't know, I found these things about my trading style. And it kind of came out in my personality as I traded. You'll find things about yourself too as you trade. I like to long-term hold. I like to build over time. I have no problem being patient. I like to swing trade. Some people can't handle swing trading. And again, when you first get in the market and you're trying to make tons of gains, I get it. The small long-term trades, they just don't feel the same. Once you've been in the market a long, long time, the older trades come back and you pay you and so I have a 5-year trade that's just coming back in to pay me now. And then 5 years from now, I'll have another trade and it just keeps coming. And then the long-term feels like short-term over time. You get what I'm saying? Because of the conveyor belt, you've been in long enough. That's the key of just being in something long enough. That's like the key to life right now that I just explained, if you think about it. Because you have so much invested in it that it's not coming the day to day. It's the years from then that you're getting paid on. Like years and years of hard work. You're living off of that now today. And then you continue that hard work over and over again. Same thing, man. Everything's kind of topped out here and either flagging out downward or upward back to that 21-day moving average as far as I'm concerned. And it doesn't mean it's over, but it just says it's a little, It's got to reset a bit. And I could be wrong. Maybe we just rip on some small time frame flags and we're out of here. And that could happen. But it looks more likely that we're going to reset on the 4-hour time frame for me than anything else. All right, but you tell me. All right. Shout out to everyone that's up big. Is anyone up big here after staying disciplined and buying the fear? Put a 444 if you stayed disciplined and bought the fear and you stayed true. You stayed true to what you do. God bless you, you know. And you didn't get liquidated. You know, a lot of people got liquidated. Remember that. A lot of people got liquidated. Vegas, baby, Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I can see late night Crypto Billy and Dave Angel at the Sin City studio with guitars in their hands, just till 4 in the morning. I'm like, guys, I gotta go to sleep, guys. One more riff, Sammy. One more riff. Bitcoin has a Bart Simpson 5 with a 15-minute time frame. I mean, we're just going sideways all night, all day here. And what I'm looking for is sideways price action on a Friday afternoon. And that would make the most sense here for Bitcoin, right? And again, just in not too long from now, we're going to be back with our macro technical analysis video every single Friday, showing you exactly kind of how we saw the market and how it went from last week till now. And I was overly bullish last week, and you could see why. And now it all kind of makes sense. 8 miles out, 6 feet deep, don't mess around. Man, wow. It probably will happen. I know it has to. I could see it happening. It makes sense, right? Well, the stage has been set. I've already spoken into existence, right? Pepe looks like it could get a nice little move to the upside here, out the flag. Was I looking at Hyperliquid last night? Hyperliquid back to 24. You gotta love that too. You know, just signs. Oh yeah, virtual. I was looking at virtual and a flag last night on like the 10-minute time frame. I want to take a look at what it looks like here. Yeah, so it broke out the flag, pumped a little bit, 217, then coming back down. Again, I'm just watching price action now. Yeah, there's no reason to chase here, everybody. A lot of people are going to chase this. They're going to feel like they missed out. They have to get in. The daily's going to make a higher low. You're away from the 21-day moving averages. Look for price to consolidate, you know, and never chase. Never chase. There's always a swing trade. You are the opportunity. Once you believe you're the opportunity, you'll stop chasing, right? You have to say that over and over again. I am the opportunity. I am the opportunity. I am the opportunity. If I'm the opportunity, what am I going after? That doesn't make any sense, right? And if you're the opportunity, then that makes sense. Then you will become the opportunity if that's what your mind believes, right? And that's how you form reality. So we have to believe that. So now it's determined scientifically because what you think about creates your reality. So we think we're the opportunity, then we will be, right? So now we've taken care of that thought. So you don't have to tell me that that's not an efficient thought. It's an efficient thought to have. So now we know that's an efficient thought. We've taken, you know, because everything I do is in succession. We got to move through our minds. So we're like, okay, it's okay to have this thought. It makes sense to have the thought that I'm the opportunity. Boom. And then now, boom, now you say, well, how could I have missed something then if I'm the opportunity? It doesn't make any sense, right? No. So then you can't use doubt, you can't use fear, you can't use FOMO, fear of missing out, and which is a form of fear, right? Missing out is a form of fear. You know, thinking you got into, you know, you shoulda, woulda, coulda is a form of fear. Whenever you make gains and you wanted more and all you think about is what you didn't get, that's a form of fear. Because you're thinking like you won't get more. But if you think about abundance, you'll be super happy with the smallest amount that you do get because you just know that more is coming. We live in trades are like that. Trades are ready to go. There's another trade waiting for you on the end of every trade. There's another trade waiting for you on the end of every trade. Say that again and again. There's another trade waiting for me on the end of every trade. You don't have to force yourself into every single moment in time, you know? Again, if you find yourself paralyzed, not able to move for a while, we got to ask yourself what's happening. There's definitely a way to kind of get you into your next move, for sure. All right. I still have my first edition Pokemon. I mean, Pokemon's huge, I heard. I never realized how big it was. I'm just getting to live outside my revolver last night. If a Sammy Come in Handy shows up in the front door, surely I'll open it. Amen. What do you think of the Pokemon market, Sam? I think it's awesome. I didn't know how big it was. You know, my friend just gave me Pokemon, and we have a bunch at the house now. And it's like a whole game, and there's a lot going on. And it's bigger than I realized. Way bigger than I realized. So yeah, it's more likely that we dump here. You know, you got to almost look at like a shoulder. I'll look at this like a shoulder, a head, a right shoulder. There's your neckline. And that's going to dump somewhere down to about, I don't know, 101,000. 164. All right. Yeah, so I wouldn't be chasing anything today. You know, normally I'm like, oh, there it is. I wouldn't be chasing anything today. I really wouldn't. Your Zoom chat last night was motivational. God bless you and your family. Thank you so much, man. I'm so sorry I wasn't able to record it. I usually am. I messed up with that last night. I'm so sorry. I have some rare Pokemon cards signed by artists that have never done a public signing event. That's amazing. 80 holding the 200 pretty strong on the 5-minute. Yeah. I love Pokemon as a kid. Now I get to share it with my niece and nephew. Cool. The 99 is a place for constant updates on multiple coins, in addition to the whole market update. Also, it's a place to share charts and ideas. The 99 trading group is where gains are made. Thank you so much. All sealed product, Pokemon. Funny. Yeah, so Bitcoin looks more sketchy, but I haven't given up on it. You know, there's a chance that this still flags out. We've been flat the entire stream, basically about where we started, 102,781. And we were 103, 100 at one point, right? But we lost the sauce, but now we've just been sideways ever since for Bitcoin. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Follow me at CryptoLifer33. That's where people look, they don't believe the bot is real. Like I showed the win rate, I showed that it's 100%, 26 wins, 0 losses. They just don't believe it. This has to be photoshopped or you hacked, all this crazy funny stuff, right? It's nuts. But it really works, man. The thing trades well. And follow me at CryptoLifer33 to find out more. Look, Florida-based logistics to adopt XRP payments and Treasury Reserve with $50 million credit facility. It's a big deal. That is a big deal there for Florida and XRP, as far as I'm concerned. That would be cool if there was a Pikachu coin or something. It probably is, man. Yeah. Sammy is Skynet. God bless Tony Rosas. We love you, man. The market maker has the capability to listen in on all the live streams. Yeah. I made money yesterday, then a kid assault. Oh. And took all my gain. Yikes. Sorry to hear that. Sounds like you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Some bad juju. Some bad juju energy there. Hey, Sam, I came by to say I love you. I'm Peter Koo. Remember my parabola. I don't, but God bless you, man. I hope everything's going well. And someone wants this garbage coin, house coin. I know nothing about it. I'll look at it, but just out of curiosity. It was hot earlier. Did it come back? Yeah. Nah, I pulled back down to the 618. You know, it's still just kind of following, doing really nothing the last 3 days. Back at the, the golden pocket there. Crazy Alchemist AI somehow holding gains here. It shouldn't be, but it is. And not too far from its all-time high. That thing breaks out, I could see it continue to pump, up to 35. So, can you check Solana on the 5-minute time frame? There was talk of Pokemon working with some company under SWFT. That makes sense. I mean, it doesn't seem that far-fetched, right? So Bitcoin sideways. Everyone wants gains. They want to say today's the day, altcoin season. They want me to just build their bags up. And then when I say, you know, we got to just watch it, it's tight. Everyone's like, what? I thought we were all pumping all day long, all night long. I mean, make your flags. You never know. Maybe LUNC does some damage here. Watch your smaller time frames. That's what I would have, like the 1 hour, the 4 hour, and the 15 minute. I'd be watching different time frames today. But after yesterday's pump, I would be happy with the gains. Go touch grass on a beautiful Friday. Take yourself to a lunch or something if you live alone. Take your wife to lunch if you live with your wife, your kids. Have some fun today. Enjoy your wins. If you won big like I did yesterday, enjoy your wins. Enjoy your wins. A lot of people made massive gains yesterday, and if you didn't win, don't beat yourself up. Say, I'm gonna have a plan next time. I won because I have a long-term plan that I use, and when I saw it, I took it. You know, I have a model, and the model came out. You gotta have discipline in a long-term model. If you don't have discipline in a long-term model, you're gonna miss a lot of things. Again, I missed things for years until I got discipline. So remember that. It's not gonna come easy. It's gonna be something you have to work at day in and day out, over and over and over again. Once you tell yourself that it's gonna happen no matter what, it will. Like, I'm gonna get to 100,000 subscribers no matter what. It's gonna happen. It's gonna take time, but it's gonna happen. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And once we decide something is gonna happen for sure, we decide it's gonna happen for sure. That's it. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it at that point. It's going to happen. Yeah. And shout out to everyone helping me. We're at 95,845,000 subscribers, on our way to 96,000 subscribers. Only 4,000 away from 100,000 subscribers. Man, day in and day out, man. Without a day off, no matter what. You know, some people say take 1 day, take 2 days, take a day. But what's the point? No days off. We just keep pushing every single day, no matter what. No days off. None. And what do you know? Bitcoin back at 102.722. Again, flat. More likely it's going to dump now, and it's slumping below the 200 MA here. Just looking sloppy. Almost has like a descending triangle kind of vibe to it, you see? I wouldn't be surprised if we dump. And we go back down somewhere to what? 101,181. And kind of we lick our wounds. We find out kind of where we reset. It would make sense. All right? GFI at 84 cents. Let's take a look at this thing. I mean, it bounced off the low at 42, doubled up there, and now it's in a bit of a flag. But wow, this coin got beat to the ground. I still own it, but dang, man, RWA. But you'd be surprised. The second RWA rips again, these market caps are so small, these coins could fly. And they could make 2 to 3x in like a day or two, just like Virtual did, like $50 to $2 in like 3 weeks. So, you know, I still hold the coin. I still believe in RWA, but that's, you know, that's a beatdown for sure. Yeah. And let's go take a look at the poll. Thank you for everyone who jumped into the poll. And we were talking about Bitcoin to 120K by the end of May. 1,348 votes. 74% of the people say yes, that can definitely happen. And let's take a look back at the fan funding one more time here. Your Zoom last night was motivated. Thank you, LUNC, ELON. We got through every single super chat here. WOJAK, PEPE. And shout out to everybody here. We got Go to the Gym, Act04, Tori, Elias, Andrea Grimaldi, Stephen Mallet, Lucky Thoughts, Ibrahim Powell, Anoop Sandaragani. Thank you so much. It's so nice of you. Andy becomes into lifer. Milligan's Travels, Mike Reinhardt, Nurky the 530p, Cryptic Rick, Maniacs, Margaret Ness, Iris Ensing, Cryptic Rick again. Thank you for the right spelling. Ibrahim Powell, Coin Operated, Edit Undo, That Knock Life. Hey, can you go over TOSHI? Thank you so much. God bless you. Mike Reinhardt, Mav, we did look at that. Cryptoholic Love, lower time frames tie, we looked at that. GURPS, Pepe, we looked at that. Ivan Roke, WOJAK, we looked at that. John Blake, Elon, we looked at that. And Merkle Legs 007 Luna C, and then Crypto Junkie 45. for the $20 super chat. You people are unbelievable. May God bless each and every one of you. I mean, $871. This is insane. Happy Mother's Day weekend to the moms. Hug them if you got them. Shout out to my mom for raising me. And shout out to anyone that's got your mom. My mom has since passed, but she's still with me every day. And so God bless everybody here on the live. Thank you for being here. Bitcoin, nice little pump back to 102,850 off the bottom of the channel. And again, you never know. There's still a chance. So I'll keep you guys updated in the trading group as we keep kind of going through these ups and downs, no matter what. And then we're going to record that macro technical analysis video and come at you with that in the next couple of minutes. And that'll be out later on this afternoon too as well. If I could find my pocket square, there it is. Keeps falling out there. Hey. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here, sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. Thank you so much for jumping on in and being awesome. I wanted to keep you level-headed today and not get too crazy. I'm super excited about the pump for Bitcoin. Don't get me wrong. But this is when a lot of people get wrecked. So you want to stay kind of calm and level-headed here. A lot of people are chasing right now because they didn't make enough gains. So you got to, emotions are high. Volume is low. A lot of liquidations. And it's a Friday afternoon. So deep breaths, everybody. God bless everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you. And we'll be back Monday for the stream. We'll be back tomorrow morning for another update on Saturday and Saturday night. Don't get me wrong. We'll do our weekend streams, 2 weekend streams, 4 more streams this weekend. And then we'll be back to Battle of the Markets Monday as well, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. But God bless everybody on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. If you want to jump on into the trading group, go to cryptolifer.com. Cryptolifer.com. We make it fun, simple, and easy. Go to subscribe, and you can subscribe to a monthly, quarterly, or an annual subscription service that I give here in my Discord. Constant updates, everything that I'm talking about, anything that I'm basically teaching you, even life lessons, ups and downs, everything I'm going through in life. In a lifer section, but we're also giving you the charts all the time, all the updates that I'm looking at, showing you what's going on for a weekly screen share too, every single week, and more. Leverage mastery on top of that. We just have so much stuff inside of the group to really blow your mind. If you're willing and able to continue to grow, we're here for you. We're here for you. Cryptolifer.com. And that's kind of where we sit. Bitcoin sitting at 102,800, pretty flat. And and we'll be going through a bunch of setups and looking at it, but it looks like, we just got to wait. I don't see anything right now I would pounce on. So God bless everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you. Really, we're getting rewarded for our DCAs at the right time and buying coins when everyone else was kind of in fear. And that really what happens. I hope you enjoyed your trip to Dubai. I really did. Shout out to Ahmed. And shout out to anyone that threw down today. Unbelievable on those super chats. May God bless each and every one of you for being here. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow for another beautiful live stream. Thank you so much. Remember, the secret to success is getting started. Push yourself every single day and you will find results. You got to keep pushing though. No days off, just constant. Some days you're up, some days you're down, but you keep pushing. You'll look back on a year of growth and say, hey, I never stopped. Where will you be next year if you keep pushing? God bless.